The worst part about betrayal isn't the pain, it's the confusion. That moment when everything you thought you knew about someone shatters, leaving you to wonder if any of it was ever real. I had that moment 6 months ago, watching my sister Amy systematically destroy everything I'd worked for, all while claiming she was a victim. I'm Charlotte Bennett, and this is the story of how my sister tried to ruin my life, not realizing I had proof of what she'd really done. Growing up, Amy and I were the closest of sisters despite being complete opposites. I was the quiet one, spending hours with my nose in books, dreaming of becoming an architect. Amy was the social butterfly, captain of the cheerleading squad, always the center of attention. We balanced each other out, my calm to her chaos, her spontaneity to my planning. "You're so lucky to have each other," people would say. Sisters who are best friends. And we were best friends through high school, through college, through the early years of our careers. At least that's what I thought. The problem started 3 years ago when we both ended up at Matthews and Stone, one of the top architectural firms in Boston. I was hired as a junior architect, having spent years building my portfolio and reputation. Amy joined the marketing department, handling client relations and social media. At first, it was great having my sister at the same company. We'd meet for lunch, swap office gossip, support each other through tough projects. Then I met James. James Harrison was the firm's rising star, a brilliant architect with a vision for sustainable urban development that aligned perfectly with mine. We started collaborating on projects, our professional chemistry obvious to everyone. The personal chemistry developed more slowly, built on late nights reviewing plans and shared passion for transforming cities. "He's totally into you," Amy would tease during our lunch breaks. "You should go for it." So I did. James and I started dating, keeping it professional at work, but growing closer outside the office. After a year, he proposed. Amy was the first person I told, squealing with excitement as I showed her the ring. "I'm so happy for you." She hugged me tight. "You deserve this, Char. All of it." Looking back, I should have noticed how her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. The engagement coincided with a major opportunity at work. Matthews and Stone was competing to design Boston's new Civic Center, a prestigious project that would put the winning team on the map. James and I were chosen to lead the bid, our complementary styles and shared vision making us the natural choice. That's when things started going wrong. First, our preliminary designs disappeared from the secure server. It eventually recovered them, but we lost 3 crucial days of work. Then key client meetings got mysteriously rescheduled without our knowledge. Emails went missing, presentations got corrupted, deadlines got confused. Mercury must be in retrograde or something, Amy said when I complained about our string of bad luck. But don't worry, I'm sure you'll pull it together. The final presentation was a disaster. Somehow, our carefully prepared materials were replaced with an earlier unfinished version. We looked unprofessional, unprepared. The Civic Center project went to another firm. James was devastated. I was furious. The partners were disappointed. And Amy was sympathetic, but there was something off about her response. "Maybe it's for the best," she said over drinks that night. "You've been so stressed about the wedding planning anyway. Now you can focus on that." The wedding. I'd almost forgotten how many strange things had been happening with that too. Vendors claiming they'd received cancellation emails from me. Deposits going missing. Last-minute problems with everything from the flower arrangements to the caterer's menu. "Wedding planning is always chaotic," my mother said when I mentioned the issues. "Thank goodness Amy's helping you sort everything out." Yes, Amy had inserted herself into every aspect of the wedding planning, offering to handle communications with vendors, saying she wanted to take stress off my plate. I'd been grateful at the time, too busy with work to question it. Then came the incident that changed everything. I was working late one night, trying to rebuild our reputation after the Civic Center disaster. The office was empty except for the cleaning staff. And unexpectedly, I found her in my office, at my computer. "Oh," she jumped when I walked in. I was just looking for that vendor spreadsheet. For the wedding. Something about her reaction felt wrong. The vendor information was in our shared Google Doc. She had no reason to be on my work computer. But before I could question it, she rushed out, saying she was late for drinks with friends. The next morning, James was called into a partner meeting. Someone had reported us for ethical violations. claiming we'd stolen design elements from competitors for the Civic Center bid. They had screenshots of emails, documents that seemed to prove it. We were suspended pending investigation. I can't believe you'd do this to me, James said later, his voice cold. Those emails came from your account, Charlotte, your computer. I didn't. You know I wouldn't. But the evidence looked damning. And in the middle of it all, Amy played the supportive sister perfectly, defending me to anyone who would listen, all while subtly spreading doubt. I just don't understand it, she'd say to colleagues. Charlotte's always been so honest. The pressure must have gotten to her. The investigation dragged on. James and I were cleared of the most serious charges. The partners accepted that the emails could have been planted. But our reputations were damaged. The trust was broken. I need time to think, James said, removing his engagement ring. About us, about everything. I went home that night to find Amy in my apartment, ostensibly bringing comfort food and sympathy. She hugged me as I cried, stroked my hair, told me everything would work out. Maybe James isn't the right one anyway, she said softly. If he doesn't trust you. That's when I saw it. A flash of satisfaction in her eyes, quickly hidden behind sisterly concern. In that moment, all the strange incidents of the past months suddenly connected like dots in a sinister drawing. The missing designs, the corrupted presentations, the vendor problems, the planted emails. It couldn't be, could it? But I had to be sure. The next day, I called in a favor from Marcus, our head of its security. I'd helped design his house last year, a project I'd done on the side. Something's not right, I told him. I need to know who's accessed my computer, my emails, everything. Marcus hesitated. That's not exactly. Please, my career and relationship are falling apart. I need to know the truth. He agreed to help setting up monitoring software and recovering deleted security logs. He also helped me install discrete cameras in my office, their feeds backing up to a secure cloud server. Then I waited, watching, gathering evidence. The rehearsal dinner was in 2 days. Despite everything, we decided to go ahead with the wedding, James agreeing to try to work things out. Amy had been particularly insistent about keeping the date. You can't let a little work drama ruin your special day, she'd said. Trust me, I have everything under control. Those words should have terrified me. But for once, I was counting on my sister's need for control, her compulsion to be the center of attention. Because I knew something she didn't, the cameras had caught everything. Every late-night visit to my office, every deleted file, every planted email. And more importantly, they caught her phone calls, the ones she made when she thought she was alone. The story they told was worse than I'd imagined. The security footage told a story so twisted I could hardly believe it was real. Hours of video showing Amy in my office late at night, methodically sabotaging my work, planting false evidence, making calls to project clients to sow doubt about our team's integrity. But it was the phone conversations that revealed the true depth of her betrayal. Everything's going according to plan, she'd said in one call, thinking she was alone in my office. Charlotte's career is in shambles. James is doubting everything. Soon he'll realize I'm the one he should have been with all along. Marcus had recovered her deleted emails too. Messages to vendors canceling services for my wedding, correspondence with competitors during the Civic Center bid, even a fake email account she created in my name to send incriminating messages. Are you sure you want to do this? Marcus asked as he helped me compile the evidence. She's your sister. Not anymore, I said quietly. She stopped being my sister the moment she decided to destroy my life. The rehearsal dinner was at La Maison, an upscale French restaurant downtown. Amy had insisted on handling the arrangements naturally. As guests arrived, I noticed she'd seated herself next to James at the main table, with me relegated to the far end. James looked uncomfortable but resigned. We'd barely spoken in the past week, the weight of unresolved suspicions hanging between us. My parents chatted nervously, clearly sensing the tension but not understanding its source. Amy was radiant, playing the devoted sister and maid of honor to perfection. She even prepared a speech, she announced, something special she wanted to share with everyone. I let her start, let her stand there in her designer dress, champagne glass raised, all eyes on her, just how she liked it. I've known Charlotte all my life, she began, her voice thick with fake emotion. We've shared everything, secrets, dreams, even our workplace. That's why this is so difficult. She paused dramatically, pulling out a folder. But sometimes love means telling hard truths. I've discovered evidence that my sister, that Charlotte, has been lying to all of us. Gasps around the room. James went pale. My parents looked stricken. These documents prove that Charlotte not only stole designs from competitors. Emmy continued, but she's been embezzling from our wedding fund, canceling vendors and keeping the deposits. That's quite a story, I said, standing slowly. Why don't we watch a movie instead? Before she could respond, I nodded to Marcus, who started the video projection we'd set up. The screen came to life with crystal clear security footage. There was Amy sneaking into my office at midnight, Amy deleting files from my computer, Amy making calls on her cell phone. No, this is Charlotte Bennett. I need to cancel my contract. Yes, keep the deposit. No, don't try to contact me directly. The color drained from her face as her own voice filled the room. James should have been mine. We had a connection at the office Christmas party last year. I know he felt it too. But then Little Miss Perfect had to swoop in. More footage played. Emmy sending emails from my computer. Emmy planting false documents. Emmy laughing on the phone about how perfectly her plan was working. Turn it off, she whispered. Why? I asked. Isn't this the truth you wanted to share? The room had gone deadly quiet. James was staring at Amy with a mixture of disgust and disbelief. My parents looked like they'd been slapped. I can explain, Amy started, but her voice cracked. Let me explain, I said, my voice carrying in a silence. You couldn't stand that I was succeeding on my own merits, that James chose me, that for once in our lives I had something you wanted and couldn't take. That's not. I never. Never what? Never sabotaged my career, never tried to ruin my relationship, never betrayed your own sister out of jealousy and spite. I played one final clip. Amy in my office just yesterday, practicing her rehearsal dinner speech, gloating about how this would be her masterpiece, her final triumph. I'd say your performance was brilliant, I continued as the screen went dark. But brilliance requires originality. All you've done is play the same role you always have. The center of attention, the star of the show. Only this time you went too far. The partners from Matthews and Stone were in attendance. My guests, though Amy hadn't known that when she planned seating. They looked thunderous as they approached her. Ms. Bennett, the senior partner said, I suggest you come to our office first thing Monday morning to discuss your employment status and bring your lawyer. James stood up, finally finding his voice. Charlotte, I am so sorry. I should have trusted you. Yes, I agreed. You should have. My parents were crying quietly in their seats. Mom reached for Amy, but she jerked away, her composure finally cracking. You always got everything, she screamed at me. The grades, the career, the perfect relationship. It wasn't fair. I just wanted what I earned. I finished for her. What I worked for. While you were partying through college and expecting things to be handed to you, I was building my career. While you were flirting with every man in the office, I was developing a real relationship. The only thing that wasn't fair was having a sister who'd rather destroy me than see me succeed. Security arrived, Marcus's final arrangement. They escorted Amy out as she continued to scream about unfairness and betrayal, her mascara running down her face. The aftermath was both easier and harder than I'd expected. Matthews and Stone launched a full investigation, eventually firing Amy and clearing my name completely. Several vendors came forward with recordings of her cancellation calls, and the missing deposits were traced to an account she opened in my name. James and I postponed the wedding, opting for counseling to rebuild our trust. He's working hard to make amends for doubting me, understanding now how skillfully Amy had manipulated everyone. My parents, that's been the hardest part. They're in therapy too, trying to understand how they missed the signs, how their parenting may have contributed to Amy's sense of entitlement and competitiveness. We always said you were lucky to have each other, Mom told me sadly. Maybe we should have taught you both to be worthy of having each other instead. Amy moved across the country after everything came out. Last I heard, she's working at a small marketing firm, under strict supervision. She still maintains she was the victim somehow, that I drove her to it by being too perfect. The wedding finally happened 6 months later, smaller, more intimate, but more genuine. Instead of a maid of honor, I had my closest friends stand with me. People who had supported me through everything. Who had seen through Amy's manipulations even when I couldn't. During the reception, James pulled me aside to show me something. A small album of security photos Marcus had given him, showing me working late nights on the Civic Center project, completely focused, passionate about my work. "This is why I fell in love with you," he said. "Not because of grand gestures or dramatic scenes, but because of your quiet dedication, your genuine passion for what you do." We're back at Matthews and Stone, our reputations not just restored but enhanced by how we handled the crisis. The partners have put us in charge of a new sustainable housing project, bigger than the Civic Center would have been. Yesterday, I found an old photo of Amy and me as kids, grinning at the camera with ice cream on our faces. Sometimes I miss that sister, the one who shared secrets and dreams before jealousy poisoned everything. But then I remember that person never really existed. She was just another role Amy was playing, waiting for her chance to steal the spotlight. The security cameras are gone from my office now, but I've kept one small reminder of everything that happened. On my desk sits a simple frame containing a fortune cookie message I got the day I decided to investigate Amy's betrayal. The truth has a way of coming to light. The only question is whether you're ready to see it. I was ready. It hurt. It changed everything. But it also set me free. Free from manipulation. Free from false loyalty. Free from the exhausting task of managing Amy's endless need for attention and validation. Last week, a young intern came to me for advice about office politics and difficult colleagues. I thought carefully before answering. Success isn't about defeating others, I told her. It's about being someone who can face herself in the mirror every morning, knowing she's earned her place through hard work and integrity. Amy never understood that. She was so busy trying to take what others had that she never built anything of her own. That's the real tragedy, not that she betrayed me, but that she betrayed herself, becoming exactly the kind of person she always accused others of being. As for me, I'm building things again, buildings, relationships, a life based on truth rather than competition. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better, about refusing to let someone else's darkness dim your light. The truth may hurt, but lies destroy. I chose truth. And in the end, that made all the difference.